Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at Quantum Sci.
Oh, cool.
A company that's making some pretty big waves in the world of protein sequencing.
Right.
They want to make reading proteins as easy as reading DNA. And we're going to see if they're on the right track.
Okay.
We've got their investor presentation slides from September 2021. So think of this as a time capsule.
Okay.
A snapshot of their vision and technology from that moment.
Got it.
Back in 2021.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time to be looking at this because proteins are essential to just about everything in our bodies.
Right.
But for a long time, they've been really hard to study in detail.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The presentation actually starts with a pretty striking statistic.
All right.
It says that 90% of approved drugs target proteins,
Hmm.
but a whopping 85% of the proteome is considered undruggable.
Wow.
So we have this huge potential for new treatments.
Right.
But we're missing a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
What makes these proteins so tricky to target?
Well, you can think of proteins like tiny, intricate machines with lots of moving parts.
Okay.
They're constantly changing their shape and interacting with other molecules in very specific ways.
Right.
Traditional methods just haven't been able to keep up with that level of complexity.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So where does Quantum Sci come in?
Whoa.
Their presentation dives into something called time domain sequencing,
Yeah.
which sounds pretty futuristic.
It is.
Yeah.
It is cutting edge. Time domain sequencing is their proprietary technology for sequencing proteins at the single molecule level.
Okay.
It's like having a super high resolution camera that can zoom in on individual protein molecules and see not only their structure, but also how they're changing and interacting over time.
That's incredible. But I'm imagining this must be super complicated.
Right?
Can you break it down for us in a way that even I can understand?
Sure. Think of it like a tiny conveyor belt in a factory, where each amino acid, the building block of a protein, is like a different colored bead. As the protein moves along the conveyor belt, the machine reads the color sequence of these beads.
Okay.
And that tells us the exact order of amino acids in the protein, revealing its unique structure.
Okay, that's a great analogy. I can actually picture that in my head.
Good.
And the presentation even shows an example trace from sequencing the human GLP-1 protein.
Right.
It looks like a complex graph, but I guess to scientists, it's like reading a blueprint, right?
Exactly. It's a visual representation of the protein's amino acid sequence.
Uh-huh.
And scientists can use that information to understand how the protein functions and how it might be involved in various biological processes.
Okay.
And what's even cooler is that time domain sequencing can also detect these things called post-translational modifications.
Post-translational modifications. I'm not familiar with that term.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
After a protein is made, it can be further modified with different molecular tags. Think of it like adding accessories to a basic outfit. These tags, or post-translational modifications, can dramatically change a protein's function. And this is where time domain sequencing really shines.
Okay.
Because it can detect these subtle changes, giving us a much more complete picture of what a protein is actually doing.
So being able to see these modifications is a big deal because it gives us a deeper understanding of how proteins function.
Right.
And potentially how they malfunction, right?
Precisely. It's like going from a static photograph to a dynamic video of a protein's life. We can see not only what it's made of, but also how it's been modified and how those modifications affect its behavior.
Right.
It's a game changer for understanding disease and developing more targeted therapies.
And speaking of real-world applications, are there any specific examples of how Quantum Sci is putting their technology to the test?
Absolutely. They've partnered with several external research sites, giving them early access to the technology. One example highlighted in the presentation is data generated by ESPCI on an early access Platinum device. This collaboration shows how researchers are already using time domain sequencing to unlock new insights. It's exciting to see this technology being used in real-world research settings.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the potential of time domain sequencing to accelerate scientific discovery.
It really highlights the collaborative nature of scientific progress, doesn't it? By working with researchers worldwide, Quantum Sci is helping to push the boundaries of what's possible in protein research.
Right.
But let's zoom out a little and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay.
Earlier we mentioned the 85% of the proteome that's currently undruggable.
Right.
What kind of impact could this technology have on drug discovery and development?
The potential is enormous. Imagine being able to see exactly how a drug interacts with its target protein at the molecular level.
Right.
To understand why some drugs work and others don't.
Mm.
We could design drugs that are much more precise, targeting specific protein modifications or interactions,
Okay.
leading to more effective treatments with fewer side effects.
So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, we could develop drugs that are truly tailored to an individual's unique protein profile?
Exactly.
That sounds like the future of personalized medicine.
Exactly. And to illustrate this, let's look at the example of EGFR and HER2,
Okay.
two proteins involved in cell growth. When these proteins are mutated or modified in certain ways, they can drive the development of cancers like breast and lung cancer.
Mm.
Current therapies targeting these proteins have shown great promise, but they don't work for everyone, and they can have significant side effects.
The presentation actually mentions a $10 billion per year market opportunity for therapies targeting just those two proteins.
Right.
So the stakes are high.
That's right. And this is where time domain sequencing could make a huge difference.
Okay.
By providing a more detailed understanding of how these proteins are modified in individual patients, we could develop more targeted therapies that are effective for a wider range of people and have fewer side effects.
That's a powerful example of how this technology could translate into real-world benefits for patients.
Right.
But it's not just about cancer, right? What other areas of medicine could be impacted?
The possibilities are vast. Think about neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's,
Yeah.
where misfolded proteins play a key role.
Right.
With single-molecule protein sequencing, we could potentially identify these misfolded proteins earlier, leading to earlier diagnosis and intervention.
Mm.
We could also track the progression of the disease more accurately and monitor the effectiveness of different treatments.
It's like we're moving from a blurry snapshot to a high-definition video of disease processes, which could revolutionize how we diagnose and treat a wide range of conditions.
Right.
But I imagine this level of detail also raises some ethical considerations, especially when it comes to data privacy and genetic discrimination.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
As with any powerful technology, we need to be mindful of potential risks and ensure that it is used responsibly and ethically.
Right.
Open discussions and careful planning will be crucial as we move forward with these advancements.
It's a reminder that scientific progress isn't just about technological innovation, it's about navigating the complex ethical and societal implications that come along with it.
Right.
But shifting gears a bit, the presentation also dives into the market potential for quantum sci.
Right.
They're not just focusing on the science.
Right.
They're thinking about the business side of things, too.
Yeah.
What kind of market are they looking at?
They've outlined a pretty impressive market landscape.
Okay.
We're talking about a $31 billion market for pharmaceutical and diagnostic development, a $5 billion market for basic research, and a rapidly growing $8 billion market for precision medicine alone.
Wow.
Their ambition is clear. They want to be a major player in these markets.
Those are some serious numbers, and their presentation outlines some ambitious goals, reaching over 5,000 hardware units by 2025 and generating over $45,000 in annual pull-through revenue per device.
Yeah.
That suggests they're expecting significant growth in the adoption of their technology.
It certainly does. They're betting big on the future of protein sequencing, and their investor presentation paints a picture of a company that's ready to scale up and meet the growing demand.
Mm-hmm.
But as with any ambitious venture, there will be challenges along the way.
What kind of challenges do you foresee?
Well, competition is fierce in the life sciences industry.
Right. Okay.
Quantum Sci will need to constantly innovate and stay ahead of the curve to maintain its competitive edge.
Okay.
They'll also need to navigate the complex regulatory landscape for medical devices and diagnostics, which can be a lengthy and expensive process.
It sounds like they have a lot on their plate.
They do,
Yeah.
but they also seem to have a clear vision and a solid plan for achieving their goals.
Okay.
They've assembled a strong leadership team and a talented workforce, which, as their presentation emphasizes, will be key to their success.
Right.
Plus, the potential of their technology is undeniable.
It's clear that Quantum Sci is aiming to be more than just a research tool provider. They want to democratize access to proteomics, making this technology available to a wide range of researchers and clinicians.
Yeah.
It's an ambitious goal, and it'll be fascinating to see how they navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
I agree. This technology has the potential to transform our understanding of life and disease, and it will be exciting to witness the next chapter in Quantum Sci's journey.
It's clear that Quantum Sci is on a mission to make a real impact. They're not just talking about incremental improvements, they're aiming for a paradigm shift in how we understand and treat disease. Their investor presentation really drives that point home.
It does, and what I find particularly striking is their emphasis on democratizing access to proteomics. It's not just about developing cutting-edge technology, it's about making that technology accessible to a wider range of researchers and clinicians, which could accelerate progress in so many fields.
That's a vision I can get behind. But I'm also curious, from your perspective, what are some of the potential downsides or challenges that we haven't touched on yet? It can't all be smooth sailing, right?
Of course not. As with any emergent technology, there are bound to be unforeseen challenges and potential pitfalls. One concern that comes to mind is the issue of data interpretation. Even with single molecule resolution, the proteome is incredibly complex and dynamic. Making sense of all that data, identifying meaningful patterns, and translating those insights into actionable knowledge will require sophisticated computational tools and expertise.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about having the infrastructure and expertise to analyze and interpret the data in a meaningful way.
Exactly. It's like having a powerful telescope, but not knowing how to navigate the night sky. You need the right tools and skills to make sense of what you're seeing. Another challenge will be ensuring the accuracy and reproducibility of the technology across different labs and platforms. Standardization and quality control will be essential, especially as the technology moves from research settings into clinical applications.
Those are all important points. It's a reminder that technological innovation is just one piece of the puzzle. We also need to invest in the development of robust data analysis tools, training programs for researchers and clinicians, and ethical guidelines for the responsible use of this technology. It's a lot to consider.
It is, but I think it's also incredibly exciting. We're on the cusp of a new era in biological research and medicine, and the possibilities are truly mind-boggling. I, for one, can't wait to see what the future holds.
Me too. And as we wrap up our deep dive into quantum sci and their vision for the future of protein sequencing, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. We've seen the potential, we've explored the challenges, but ultimately the future of this technology is in our hands. As researchers, as clinicians, as informed citizens, we all have a role to play in shaping how this technology is developed and used. So stay curious, stay engaged, and let's continue to explore the fascinating world of proteins together.